Greetings cybersecurity enthusiasts and Happy New Year 2025. It's a new year, a new beginning and a perfect time to level up your skills and dive into the future of ethical hacking. Hi, I am Krishna Kumar Mahadevan. I couldn't be more excited to bring you a special New Year 2025 gift, the CEH V13 AI full course. This isn't just any course. It's a complete journey throughout the world of ethical hacking, combining in-depth theory with hands-on lab modules. Designed to give you a real-world expertise and exam-ready skills. In this course, we will explore the latest CEH concepts and tools, the power of AI in ethical hacking, hands-on labs with practical experience, strategies to tackle the real-world cybersecurity challenges, and ace your CEH certification exam. This blended course is perfectly for everyone from absolute beginner stepping into cybersecurity to seasoned professionals looking to stay ahead of curve. With a mix of interactive lectures and step-by-step lab tutorials, you will master everything from vulnerability analysis to penetration testing and AI enhanced security tactics as well. Hit that subscribe button and smash the like button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out any single module. Share this course with any ready to take their cybersecurity skills to the next level. Let's build a community of ethical hackers making a difference. Again, CEH V13 AI full course, theory plus lab, presented by CyberMentor, New Year 2025 special, ethical hacking for safer, smarter digital future. Alright, welcome to the Certified Ethical Hacker V13 full course. This comprehensive program will equip you with knowledge and skills needed to become a proficient ethical hacker. Our journey begins with an introduction to the core concept of ethical hacking, setting up the foundation for more technical modules to follow. This entire course is brought to you by CyberMentor, a brand new AI-powered YouTube channel for cybersecurity. Right? Let me take this opportunity to convey some clear message here. I'm not going to read between lines on the book of CEH V13. So I'm just this entire session is going to be a compressed session. Whatever it is badly in need of it will be there, and whatever it is very detailedly or very deeply dived, those things will not be going in that level of diving. So this is going to be a crisp course. It will be very compressed course for you to understand about CEH V13 along with the lab module as well. So it is not just a theory. The same course will be used for theory as well as the lab module. Okay. So if I say module 1 is completed, which means all the modules of theory, module 1 theory plus practical will also be completed. Okay. That is what the overall, I just wanted to set the clear expectation to all of you, so that in case if anyone do not want to get into that kind of a lengthy stuff, and you are the right time to leave from this course, or people who wanted to do in this way, please stay back and then listen to this conversation. I will 100% assure you that you will never get disappointed on this. Okay, I'm moving on to the next slide, which is core concept of information security. As you all aware, whatever certification you do, these are the 5 pillars of information security. First of all, confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation. What is confidentiality? Ensure this definition clearly, understand this definition clearly, because even though it is easy to understand, but unfortunately they will try to twist the question. So you might give a wrong answer. In spite of integrity, you might give a confidentiality in your theory exam as well. So that's the reason you understand that the definition very clearly, and this is the most crispiest definition of confidentiality. Protecting sensitive information from unauthorized access is called confidentiality. Ensuring information accuracy and completed completeness. There should not be any tampering in the transit, which is called integrity. Availability is nothing but you ensuring the system and informations are accessible when needed. You have DR, BCP, right, falling under availability. Authenticity, which is nothing but proof of origin. Just remember that word, proof of origin. Verifying the identity of the user and data sources. Non-repudiation, ensuring that sender cannot deny that I never sent this message. And then the recipient also cannot deny that I never received this kind of message anytime, something like that. These are the confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity and non-repudiations are all called 5 pillars of information security. Right, I'm moving on to the next slide. Understanding the information security attacks. Before getting into an understanding, we need to understand about the definition of an attack. What is an attack? An attack is an action performed with an intent to breach an IT system security by exploiting its vulnerabilities. It can involve attempts to obtain, edit, remove, destroy, implant or review information without authorized access is called attack. Attack is not making system down. No. Attack is stealing some information is also an attack. Okay. Attack formula as far as CHV13 is concerned. Motive plus method plus vulnerability. Motive, some goals. What are the goals? We will see in the next slide. Methods, TTP, which is tactics, tool, tactics and procedures. We will see in the 2 slides after. And vulnerability. What is vulnerability? So these are the 3 scenarios is put together called attacks. So motive, some kind of an goal or motivation behind the attackers. Method, some tools that these guys are using to penetrate in and get the details. Vulnerability, there is a weakness in the system. They are exploiting the weakness and initiate this attack. Okay, these are the definition of an attack. Right, I'm moving on to the next slide, which is motivation and goals of an attacker. Financial gain, obviously what they will do. When they steal some data, they will try to sell the data. When they make the system down, they will obviously ask for money. Give me the money, I will give you the, decryption key to decrypt all the details as well. So, financial gain. Data theft, what for they do? Sell it, end of the day. That is what maximum they could do. So, data acquiring the valuable and sensitive information for various purposes. Revenge. It is kind of a retaliation, kind of a tit for tat act. Like, a disgruntled employees asked to relieve or the company thrown away an employee. You are throwing me away in this way. I will show you who am I. Something like that. Those kind of a retaliation act or a kind of a revenge, they used to do it. Target systems are individual due to the personal grievances. They might be having some grievances with their manager or the organization itself, and they will try to take the revenges, and then they will do this attacks as well. Reputation damage. You know what will happen if a good organization, their website is down for 1 week? What will happen to their reputation, right? So these are the 4 predominant stuff which is for the motivation, goals and attackers. It's a motivation and goals of an attacker. And I'm moving on to the next one, which is TTPs. Tactics, nothing but a plan, strategy. Overall strategy of an attacker follows from beginning to end of an operation. Operation in the sense attack. Techniques. What technical methods are used by an attacker to achieve the intermediate result during the attack. Procedures. So what is that procedure? Procedure meaning step by step. So they'll clearly plan for it, and they will create step by step procedure for it. And in that procedure, what tool they are going to use it will be clearly mentioned in it. So this is called TTP. Tactics, techniques and procedures. Okay, remember these terms. Okay, understanding vulnerability and threat. Vulnerability is weakness that exists in the system. Threat is a potential danger. A weakness in the system in the sense, for example, they bought a firewall which is by default has some vulnerabilities, or they misconfigured their network devices, or the systems are not patched, or they are using an end of life or end of service line operating system, or some people or many people they made disgruntled because they have not provided a proper what you call hike for the employees, or their process itself there are some gaps. These are all some of the vulnerabilities. Threat, obviously natural calamities, you cannot win over natural calamities, right? And anything on the technical side, for example, or a power station, though we have a power backup, but we may not be having more than 8 hours, right? Because we cannot produce any internal power, right? So obviously we depend upon some external grid or that grid services. What will happen when the grid is down for over 24 hours due to some other natural calamities or some other location? So that is a threat. Physical threat. The area itself, the data center where it is located itself, it is prone to some kind of a storm or some kind of hailstone rains, or some reasons, actually some kind of a physical related stuff. People, obviously, why people is coming into picture. People is also threat. Right people, right qualified, right intention people is not been recruited. Obviously we will be getting into trouble, and those guys are always threat to the organization. So these are the simple. Important thing is the definition. A weakness that exists, vulnerability. A potential danger, that is threat. Okay, I'm moving on to the next slide, which is common causes of vulnerabilities. Misconfiguration is a lengthy list. Hardware, software improperly set up, leaving security gaps. In the sense, the hardware, I told you in the previous slide, hardware itself having a vulnerability, or hardware they have not configured with, or they configured with some loopholes. Softwares, they haven't updated the server, they haven't created proper guardrail for the organization. If it is an internal system, they do not have a proper group policies to ring fence their security boundaries. So, and user accounts, they will talk, they will give two-factor authentication, 5-factor authentication, and big words and terminologies they will use and give it for end user. But unfortunately, some of the important services inside the organization will be using a service account. That service account is not configured as per the best practices of the industry. For example, a service account, they will enable an interactive logon. Interactive logon in the sense you can use the same service account to log on to any server. That shouldn't be the case, right? It should use only for start and stop the service. Service account will be used only to do some activities against services of some application, and that service account periodic passwords should be rotating. I mean, one password you set it and then forget it. Obviously, what will happen? That is one of the biggest loopholes for this thing. So those are all some of the misconfiguration. There are big list, but these are all on top of my mind, and all the questions will be falling under whatever we discussed now. Poor design, poor architecture, a flawed design of the network and an application. It is quite common. Many places you can see it. I mean, when you do a recon of an application, or one particular application is coming in and which is spanning across various data centers or cloud, you know what? When we do the recon or do a ethical hacking of the application, we can easily identify lots and lots of loopholes to go and reach in the architecture itself. So that is called poor design. Inherent weaknesses. What do you mean by inherent weaknesses? In the sense, the flaw which is within the technology itself. For example, protocols. Protocol is a problem. A good example is SMTP 25. If you are not using SMTP with security, obviously you will end up in, it's a big time vulnerable protocol on port, I would say 25. And, protocol level things also there. That is what inherent. Obviously, when you are using that protocol, you are going to inherit that vulnerabilities as well, right? I mean, that is called inherent, not just protocol, but also technology, but also a tool which you are purchasing, and that tool is using some other vulnerable scenarios. Obviously, that vulnerabilities will be inherent into your organization as well. That can be easily exploited by these kind of hackers, okay? End user. See, end user negligence or end user intentional act. For example, there is a hard and fast rule like no one should write their password on a paper, and that paper should not be kept on the desk itself. Some people, they will particularly, they will do it. They will deliberately, they will do it. That is an intentional user act. And some people, they are very lazy in nature or sloppy in nature or careless in nature. They will do this job, and then they will keep their book or diary or whatever it is, a planner. They will put their password and keep the diary on the desk itself. Unattendedly, it will be available. And when he goes for a coffee or a lunch break or somewhere else, obviously someone with a bad intention who can easily browse through the planner which is kept in the desk, right? And that is one of the that is an end user negligence scenarios. Okay, these are some of the common causes of the vulnerabilities. Okay, keep this in mind. This is 100%. All the entire slides are all, every slide at least 1 or 2 questions will be there in the theory. And then types of attacks. There are around 5 types of attacks, I would say. Insider, as you are aware, people sitting inside the organization, they were attacking it. Passive is nothing but intercept and monitor the network traffic, and without tampering the data, they were trying to do, for example, sniffing. Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping in the sense you're overhearing some other's conversation. You are not doing any, you are not stealing anything, you are not changing anything, you are not tampering anything. And of course, footprinting, reconnaissance, all the entire reconnaissance are all falling under passive attacks. Close-in attack. What do you mean by close-in attack? The word close-in is nothing but an affinity. For example, in some places, in many companies you could see, due to the space crunch, one desk they're supposed to sit are 2 guys. They dump it with 4 or 5 guys. So what will happen? You can easily see just a 120 degree of your eyeballs. If you rotate, whoever sitting in the right side, you will be seeing their monitor. And if you rotate your eyeballs towards 70 degree onto your left, whoever sitting onto your left, you can get the information. So eavesdropping itself, it is byproduct is eavesdropping. That is close-in attacks. Those are all called close-in attacks as far as CH is concerned. And then there are plenty of shoulder surfing is what I said. The eyeballs move towards left and right is shoulder surfing. Eavesdropping is nothing but overhearing whatever they are talking about. And then in fact, if they are sitting very closely, he wanted to know about some financial details. You know what? The finance is sitting just 10 steps away from my location. So whatever finance dustbin, I can go and grab the dustbin and putting it underneath mine. And then I will take one after other, and then I will ensure whether are there any clues I am getting it for the data which I am looking in. So those are all some of the close-in attacks. Active attacks. And before going to active attacks, I will go to distribution. When you say distribution, the word itself, it's a supply chain, right? Supply chain attacks. For example, a company who is ordering, say, 10 laptops for newly joined resources who are joining by next month, and they wanted to order their 10 laptops for now. You know what? A procurement vendor will be a different company. I mean, they are ordering directly on Dell. Dell uses their partner shipping vendor to ship it, and then Dell uses their installation vendor to install and configure it for them. Okay, these 3 vendors are in between. If, for example, if the resource is close or the attacker is close in the sense of close friend of any of this activity, they can bribe that, for example, a shipping guy, and then open one particular box and do some kind of a tampering activity. Once it is done, then they will close it as it is and then kept it. So those kind of an activity is called distribution. So anything, anywhere, something happened in the supply chain scenario, that is going to be a distribution attack. And active attack, why I took active attack, whatever the attacks in the world are all active attack. I mean, it is not 1 or 2, you have a big list. If you say like, for XXX, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, you have exploitation of an application and OS software, or you can say, cross-site or client or server forgery, and then you have a backdoor access, privilege escalation, arbitrary code execution, profiling, a man in the middle and very popular, session hijacking attack, password based attack, and spoofing attack. So these are all some of the attacks, active attacks, or DDoS, I forgotten that. And of course, any kind of a malware or virus or logic bombs or worms or ransomware, these are all some of the active attacks of cybersecurity. Okay, I think you got an idea about it. I'm moving on to the next slide, which is an information warfare. So what is warfare? Warfare is nothing but, it is an utilization of an information and communication technology. ICT is what we used to call it in the industry, cybersecurity industry, to gain the competitive advantage over the adversaries, virus, worms, Trojan horses, logic explosives, etc., etc. are all examples of information warfare weapons. So in the sense, C2 is also a warfare if you ask me. But I will come to that. Many people may not be understanding about what is C2. So in the warfare, there are plenty of warfares available. I mean, any book they decrypt or I would say they decompose the top level warfare into further warfare. And there is one popular guy called Martin Libicki. I don't know how to pronounce it. Please pardon me if I'm not pronouncing it in the right way. So Martin Libicki, they divided the entire warfare into various categories. Okay, I'm not going to dig into any of those categories. In fact, the main top category is defensive warfare, offensive warfare. The word itself clearly says offensive, hackers, defensive, protectors. So defensive warfare is they are protecting the system, they're protecting their IT, they're protecting something from the hacker. Okay, hacker penetrating after the protection, after all the controls, guardrails, whatever you have, security, cameras, lightings, so whatever you have, even very tight locking system, but I will penetrate further into the system, right? That is an offensive warfare. So these are the two warfare, defensive as well as offensive. Defensive falls under blue hat, offensive falls under red hat. Okay, so these are some of the example or detection, prevention, deterrence, alert, response are all defensive warfare. Web attacks, all the attacks, take any attacks falling under offensive. So I think you got a concept of it. So let me go to the next slide. Hacking concept. So these are not a big deal, but still I'll give you all understood about the hacking, and then that's the reason you are listening to this conversation, right? So hacking is an act of gaining unauthorized or improper access of a system resources by taking advantages of security flaw and undermining security measures. It may entail altering system components and to accomplish an objective unrelated to original intent to the designer. There are many of the things like, they are creating a malware, viruses and spreading the malware, viruses, DDoS, establishing an unauthorized remote access botnet, packet sniffing, phishing and password cracking. These are all some of the key activities they will perform in the hacking concept. So now you understand what is hacking. Hacking is pretty simple. It is like, gaining something with in an unauthorized way or in an illegal way, which is called hacking. So you understand what are the activities as well, right? And there are some classification of hacker. They are white, black and gray. That white, the name itself says that they are working for a defensive reasons and they will never do any kind of a bad intention. But wherein the black, whatever white, it is quite opposite. Black and white are always quite opposite, right? They black hat guys are always in a malicious mindset, and they will always do illegal intentions, do some kind of an illegal. Gray, they have both the at times like a chameleons. At times they will get into white, at times they will get into black, something like that. They are gray hat scenario. So operating between ethical and unethical lines. So what is ethical? White. Unethical? Black. Gray, both ethical and unethical. Okay. So this is the high level thing, and there are some other, these are just top 3. There are some other colors also. Green, yellow, orange, blue, red. So these are all some kind of a teams. In fact, I've created a video in our Cyber Mentor. There I said that cyber rainbow. If time permits, just have a look at it. There I'm talking about the same scenario in terms of teams. Black team, white team, red team, blue team, green team, yellow team, orange team, white team. White team is a management team. So that is exactly I was mentioning, and you love it. I mean, just few minutes of video. Just go ahead and see that cyber rainbow. Okay, I will put it in the description down below. Right. So there are some more classification of hackers. Script kiddies. It is an untrained young people. They created some kind of a script or tool for doing some kind of a hacking. That is script kiddies. Green hat hackers, they are good people. People that are driven to advance their knowledge and abilities in order to work on cybersecurity. So green hat hackers are very good people. State-sponsored hackers. Who are all state-sponsored hackers? You know, in the government, the hackers are all, they pump in money for getting tools. But obviously, in the government side, are they pumping similar money to buy an defensive tool for all these things? No is the answer. And secondly, skill sets also. They are very less, I mean, in any private industry or private scenarios, they will invest money for the trainings, frequently training. In case of any complex scenarios have come up, obviously they will train the employees or train the particular team to go advance in that scenario. But in a kind of a complex cyber, what do you call, some kind of an attack has happened, the government themselves sponsor for the hacker as a consulting engagement. So that is for the very complex cyber attacks. Okay, they will go get the call these hackers, and these guys will come with all their tools, and then they will do. They will try to identify the root cause of what is causing this, who is attacking this. They can easily identify with the help of this state-sponsored. State-sponsored in the sense government-sponsored hackers. Okay. Cyber terrorist, who are those? The word itself says terrorist, right? Terrorist, what they will do? Are they coming with a good intention? They might be having bad political, religious convictions, who wanted to, incite terror by interfering with the computer network. They are, in case if they don't like one country's scenario, they will try to hack first. And then, those kind of people are all cyber terrorists. Hacktivists, who are those? Individuals or groups motivated by political and social factors. So, those kinds of hackers are all called hacktivists. So, these are some of the hackers' classification. Okay. Just keep it in mind, and all these things, at least one slide, at least one or two questions are guaranteed in your examination. Ethical hacking concept. So what is ethical hacking concept? Ethical hacking involves the use of hacking tools, tricks and techniques to identify vulnerabilities and threats and ensure the system security, simulating attacks to verify the existence of the exploitable weaknesses. The goal is to report vulnerability to the system owner for remediation. So they will do all sort of things, but they should never take any actions. They will have to create a report and then produce the report to the one who is engaged, him or her, for doing this activity. So the purpose is nothing but, it is kind of a security assessment of an organization, or the organization is coming up with a new application. They are going to launch it by next week. They wanted to ensure before they did all sort of tests, user acceptance test, regression test, unit test, system test. So all kind of tests they have identified. They fixed all the, they followed DevSecOps options, and then they did everything. But at the end, they wanted to do, is there any security apart from security DevSecOps testing also? They wanted to see whether is there anything else, is there any loopholes are there. If they are so confident, they will call a bug bounty program, and they say like whoever finds any bugs in the system, we will be paying you $10,000 for that. Okay, that is called bug bounty. I will come to that when we were discussing about bug bounty. Okay, so the purpose of this is going to be just to analyze. If you get to know something, take the report, submit the report to the one who engaged you. Legal consideration. They will have to consider the legal. First of all, they have to sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreement. There are plenty of documents are there, and they will have to follow certain regulations as well. So all these things they have to do it a legal consideration. I mean, before taking a legal consideration, I mean they cannot engage or any kind of a VAPT professionals to do any kind of an ethical hacking for their setup. Okay, this is mandatory scenario. You know. So these are the legal. Ethical hackers must have signed legal documents giving them permission to conduct hacking activity. Okay, these are all some ethical hacking concepts. And you can say that why ethical hacking is necessary. We have already discussed. You might be answering it very clearly for that. I mean, it is for defending. If it is a proactive arrangement for identifying any vulnerabilities or threat in the system, or before getting into any any go live, they wanted to ensure that their security level is high, or if it is not, the actions will be taken. So those kind of or uncover, is there any vulnerability still present in the system which is not covered yet or anywhere, either in the code as well as in the app development? Is there anything in that way? Say yes or no. If it is yes, okay, I mean we will do that. If it is no, then so these are some of the ethical hacking, why it is necessary. Okay, it is pretty simple and straightforward. And beyond that, I do not have anything. To safeguard customer data, to enhance security and awareness at all levels in the business. Okay, so this is legal consideration. This is what you need to use ethical hacking. This is what you need. Ethical hacking is necessary. Okay, I'm moving on to the next slide, which is a role of an ethical hacker. You know what maximum they will do? They will try to get that the attacker to see the target system, whether is there any visibility of vulnerabilities, a threat or whatever it is available. Then are there any exploitable vulnerabilities are there? You know, what are an attacker do with that information? Or maybe, you know, in the honeypot scenarios, they will deliberately kept something open so that, you know, this attacker will use that honeypot and they will open, go themselves, get stuck. Because once it is done, then if they close it, then obviously, you know, the thing will get stuck. So detection. So is the company, you know, detect any kind of or detect any vulnerabilities or threat to prevent, you know, all these things are closed and should not come in near future as well. So that is the overall role of an ethical hacker. Ethical hacker is to gain it is to understand whether there is any vulnerabilities or threats are identified, can be exploitable, something like that is what their day-to-day activity as well. Scope and limitation of ethical hacker. You know that what is the scope? Just now we explained, right? I mean, scope is nothing but, you know, it is a kind of an essential element of the risk assessment, auditing or counter fraud measures and best practices in the industry systems security as well. It serves to detect the danger and emphasize the corrective measures. It also mitigates the ICT expenses by addressing vulnerabilities. Limitations, you know that, you know, they should never, though they have the knowledge to fix it, they should never do that. Their job is to identify, assessment. They are not here to fix their any kind of an this thing. So if an organization lack of clarity regarding their objectives and rationale for engaging any kind of an external vendor to breach their system, or likelihood of deriving substantial benefits from event diminishes significantly. An ethical hacker can assist the company in comprehending its security framework. Nonetheless, it is the organization's responsibility to implement appropriate protection on network. Got it? So these are some of the scope and limitations of in module 1 of CEH V13. So what are the technical skills? Obviously, they will be very sound knowledge in all the stack of operating system, and of course, they have end-to-end knowledge of a networking. So how, if you ask about switching, they will talk about switching. If you ask about routing, they will talk about routing. If they wanted, routing, switching, any kind of device related or technological protocol related mess up, all those things will be taken care or should be taken care by the ethical hackers. They can understand their knowledge. I mean, they have very deep knowledge on that. Security domains, obviously you have various security domains, right? Forensic risk, and then say SOC, like guardrails, defense in depth, and these are all some of the security domains as well. So expertise in that, in various technical domains and security areas. And last but not least, which is AI powered tools. In a sense, familiarity with artificial intelligence driven security tools. For example, ChatGPT based security tools like Worm GPT, Fraud GPT, Bug Bounty GPT, Shell GPT, and these are all some of the GPTs, and both GPTs are all some of the GPTs which is available in the market right now for the ethical hackers to make use of it. Okay, so I'm moving on the next slide. Specialized skills of an ethical hacker. Obviously, network security, logical security, server security, application security, cloud security, yacht security, yacht or OT. Those are all some of the securities which they are familiar with. They will understand end to end how it is functioning. For example, if you say network security, OSI layers, if it is an application security, how the application flow is happening, they need to understand what you call dependency mapper. With the help of dependency mapper, what is going, which packet is coming in, where it is going, where it is coming, all those things they will understand. And cloud security, obviously, what is their defense in depth mechanism? So what is there in the fence, what is there in the next fence? So all those things they will understand. And yacht, of course, all the smart home related stuff or OT related stuff, all those things these guys will be very, very, very familiar with. So, and then there are some ethical hacking domains, which is security system hacking, web app hacking, network hacking, mobile hacking. And these are all some of the hacking that they can do it. System hacking in the sense the entire system, cloud hacking, and they can use say any system, they can make it down. Or if they make it their Active Directory down, obviously no one will be able to access anything which is authentication, authorization, access control, accounting, whatever it is, everything will go for a toss. So that is called ethical hacking domains, and these are all 4 key domains which we need to understand: system, web app, network, and mobile. System, web app, network, and mobile. These are the 4 key activities. Okay, just remember that. I'm moving on to the next slide, which is ethical hacking tools, which is, these are just budding tools. I mean, very old tools. Just for a sample, we have kept in out here Nmap, Wireshark, Metasploit, Burpsuite, over 80-90 tools available right now. To the best of my knowledge, I can handle over 80-90 tools. I myself can handle. Imagine these are the top tools actually: Nmap, Wireshark, Metasploit, and Burpsuite. Using this, they will do their day-to-day jobs to, the first initial training, they will, sit in the server room and then try to do all those things. And then subsequently, when they get into this kind of a customer or client-related activity, then it is the fun time starts for them. Okay, these are some of the key hacking tools of ethical hacking. Okay, some of the key actions for ethical hacking, if you ask me: footprinting. Footprinting is a synonymous of reconnaissance. It's a synonymous of gathering data. Okay, gathering preliminary data about a target. Scanning, like what ports are available, how many IP addresses are there, what is that public IP addresses they used to have, how many public IP addresses can be vulnerable. So all those scanning and getting the information, right? I mean, these external IP address can access HTTP and HTTPS as well. So those things will be identified using a scanning scenarios. And then enumeration. Enumeration is penetrating using the next step of it. Once you identify the basic information about the IP address, where it is located, all those things. And then second thing is scanning. What are the vulnerabilities? What threats are available? So all those things will be coming under scanning. And then enumeration. Enumeration is nothing but penetrating using tools and getting into the scanned footprints, okay, or scanned system data of the customer or a client, okay. Vulnerability analysis. Are there any vulnerabilities? Is there any? There are plenty of tools for that, right? And Metasploit, they will grab the information and then they will put it into Metasploit, and then whether is there anything else that I could understand that before fixing it, something like that. That is a vulnerability assessment or analysis. So I think this is vulnerability assessment. And exploitation, as you are aware, attempting to gain unauthorized access. That is called exploitation. Okay. The next slide is going to be AI driven ethical hacking. What do you mean by AI driven? Obviously, AI will be everywhere nowadays. Actually, we can, the benefit of AI is, fast, speed, velocity, efficiency, expandability, scalability, consume less time, cost, effectiveness, one resource efficient for doing many activities, orchestration, automation. So those are all some of the benefits of AI driven ethical hacking. Application of AI driven, there are plenty of applications. We have seen plenty of videos I have also put in there. Logical security, application security, server security, cloud security, IOTA security, and these are all some of the securities which has applications of each, and then each application has got an AI driven scenarios as well. How AI helps ethical hackers? Obviously, it is an orchestrated, automated, quick decision making, accurate reporting, and expandability, etc. So these are all some of the ways it will help. ChatGPT powered AI tools like Worm GPT, Shell GPT, Fraud GPT, Pen Test GPT, Bug Bounty. So all these things are all ChatGPT based GPTs. You love it because I made a very nice video on Shell GPT. If you could see, it gives very clear information about, or else we'll have to go all the way. I don't want to tell that actually. that is a ChatGPT powered AI tools as well. And then AI will replace ethical hackers. This is how long any new technology which evolves, they will always say that, it's a kind of a myth, right? So in short, no AIs will replace any of the ethical hackers, because this is very, very essential role and mandatory role as well. And everyone is coming to security nowadays is because of AI is developing huge. The other side, they might lose their job because coding and all they are doing within fraction of second. And those jobs are all in trouble, and all the mundane jobs are all in trouble now actually. So since it is there, some places we still using our own brain, using in that place is one of the key places, cyber security. So as far as the IT, one computer, the last computer is living in this world, we do not have any problems of human jobs, okay, or especially ethical hacking jobs, okay. No AIs will take over any of the jobs of anyone, right? And now we are getting into frameworks, standards and models. We will see that. The first thing is Mid-tier attack framework. Mid-tier attack is very popular, which is US government sponsored framework. This is subject to correction, but still, in case if I'm wrong, just comment down below. So Mid-tier attack framework is nothing but a global accessible knowledge base of adversaries' tactics and techniques derived from the real world observations. It comprises three collections: enterprise, mobile and pre-attack matrices. I will talk about in detail while doing the lab on these particular scenarios, okay. This is Meteor framework. Ethical hacking phases. This is also a framework like reconnaissance, vulnerability scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, clearing tracks. Parrot Linux, that will by default has got very nice tools, to clear the track of any. It will never keep any evidences when we do some kind of a hacking activity with the help of the new tool Parrot. Okay. So these are all some of the ethical hacking phases, and there is one other model called Diamond. The Diamond model is a framework designed to help cybersecurity analysts understand and analyze cyber threats by examining the relationship between these four elements. As I mentioned, adversaries, victim, infrastructure, capability. The model highlights relationship between these elements and allow the analyst to map and understand the full scope of the intrusion. It is also encourages, iterative investigation, supporting deeper insights into threat actors and tactics techniques, TTPs. The model is widely used in threat intelligence and incident response as well. So let me move on to the next slide, which is an information assurance, IA. IA denotes the guarantee that the integrity, availability, confidentiality and authenticity of information and information systems are all safeguarded during the usage, processing, storage and transfer of the data. The processes that facilitate the attainment of information assurance, which includes formulating local policies, procedures and directives, formulating network and user authentication methodologies, recognizing network vulnerabilities and threats, determining the issues and resource needs, formulating strategies for specified resources needs, implementing suitable information assurance measures, executing certification and accreditation, delivering information assurance and training. And these are the key scenarios about IA. And this is the maximum we can understand about a framework. But during the lab, when we were doing it, and we are following, for example, information assurance, and in that the first process is so and so, and that has already been completed, and the second process is going to be formulating the network and user authentication methodologies, and that is what we are going to do. So these frameworks will give us a clear direction and what exactly we need to do, and in a step-by-step or in a procedural way. Okay, that is the reason, we are all working very closely with all this framework. Okay. Now moving on to the next one, defense in depth strategy. As I already mentioned that there are concentric rings. Defense in depth in the sense, the innermost ring is going to be the highly protected ring. Okay, there the data security is coming into picture. On top of data security, there is an application which will be ring fencing the data. On top of application, the host security, which is patching, guardrail, security configuration, hardening, group policy, security, controls. So all these things are falling under host security. Now we are quickly go and see what is network security. Network security is nothing but a segmentation of the LAN. The LAN, if it is only within VLAN communication is enabled, obviously within VLAN communication is also only possible. If they wanted to go beyond the VLAN, obviously they will have to cross a gateway, they will have to cross, certain access privileges to be done, and all those things will be configured. Either internal firewall or external firewall or switch level configuration also you can do that. Between port to port you cannot, or between VLAN to VLAN you cannot transfer, or only restricted protocols such as DHCP, like BOOTP, only those protocols are allowed and not all the protocols are allowed. So those are all some kind of a networks related. And then perimeter security, if you ask me, obviously all those IPS, IDS, VPNs, DMZs, firewalls, access control, proxy servers for internet access, and the network segmentation, even it is strictly segmented. For example, trusted DMZ, untrusted DMZ. Untrusted DMZ, all the external facing, public facing routers, firewalls will be there. But untrusted, you have trusted DMZ, you have all our web servers, the servers which is NAT configuration, all those things will be there in the perimeter security. The next framework in our list is risk management framework. and which has got 5 straightforward phases. One is identification of risk, the first phase. I mean, using various methodologies, we will first of all identify the assets, who is the owner, so what are the, so understanding about the assets, and then which is the business or business assets, which are the, so there are various ways to identify the risk in the existing system. And then once it is identified, then obviously we are going to assess it using a qualitative as well as quantitative assessment. Qualitative, for example, if we got 5 threats and then 100 vulnerabilities, what they will do, which threat is number one in priority based on high, medium, low is what the qualitative one. It will tell you, and based on that we will prioritize or sequence the risk. On the other side, quantitative, which is because 100 vulnerabilities are there, and which one do we need to focus first, which one do we need to, later on we can focus, because cost is involved, many vulnerabilities are there, so how much does it cost, and what is that, is it a serious risk, will it create some other issues of the for the organization. So all those things will be assessed, and then they will arrive into a conclusion saying, say 10 vulnerabilities have to be fixed at the, in priority, and couple of threats have to be closed within a short span of time, is what they will take a decision. And then they will use the risk treatment framework, which is called Atma. Atma is a short name, just remember this word, Atma. Atma, first A stands for avoid, T stands for transfer, M stands for mitigation, and then A stands for acceptance. See, what is that Atma meaning? See, is there any choice for us to avoid this risk? No problem, no choice, actually you will have to. So what is that next? Is it possible for us to transfer the risk, because we have an existing cyber security insurance is there? Is it possible for us to include this particular risk onto that existing insurance? So that is number 2, that transfer. If it is not possible, obviously is it possible for us to mitigate it? So for mitigation, you need to invest some money inside, like in order to close this, the data exfiltration is happening, and in order to close that, we'll have to buy a DLP for the organization, or at least we will start with a team which is highly vulnerable. Only those teams, for example 25 licenses, we'll have to buy it at the first, and then subsequently we are going to do it in later stage. So stage based this thing, so that is cost. So mitigation is the third one. If mitigation also not possible, if management says we do not have money, right now to handle that, then obviously we do not have any other option. If we are not mitigating, then obviously you will have to accept the risk. So accept the risk in the sense, the risk will continue to do its job, and we will continue to find the same risk again and again. So that is what risk treatment. Risk tracking, obviously once you have treated some of the risk, obviously we are going to track it and monitor it, whether the levels are maintaining, levels are increasing, or is there any other additional efforts are required for mitigating anything further. All those things we will be identifying based on the monitoring, which is called risk tracking. And then at the end, risk review. So we will regularly review the risk. I would suggest, being a CISSP leader, I would always suggest regularly assess the risk. If your risk volume is very high, at least once in a quarter is mandatory stuff, or else one day, everything will collapse. That day we will pay more money than currently. If you are doing this for quarterly, if you are doing this, for example, if you are paying say 1 million, and if you miss it, if you are not doing it, and you end up, you are accumulating everything, you end up one day everything is going to be down. That time you are going to pay huge volume, like $10 million. So where will you go for the money? So this is where the challenge is all about. So these are the 5 risk management framework processes, and these processes will provide us a clear direction what is to be done, and that is exactly depicted in CEH V13 as well. Okay, let me move on to the next section, which is also very, very essential section, is cyber kill chain framework. See, whoever hackers, ethical hackers, even defenders, red team, white team, black team, gray team, even if you want to, you can put the hat in it, white hat, red hat, black hat, all the hat people, they use this as their framework. I mean, this is a key framework for any kind of an attack, and the same framework can be used to defend any kind of an attack as well. So the first is reconnaissance, that gathering information. Second is weaponizing. In order to, based on the gathered information, what weapons do we need? For example, we need AI based this, that, and all. So all those things you accumulate it and then put it on a single folder, and then we will deliver those things, those weaponization on the proper system of the customer or target. And once it is done, then obviously once our tools are there in the right location in the this thing, and one fine morning or fine when the traffic is slow, when everything is slow, then obviously we will try to exploit any vulnerabilities. That is what they do. I mean, not me. Actually, the real hackers, they will do the right time. They will see whether the traffic are very low, the server resources are very low. At that time, they will exploit these kind of vulnerability. So once the vulnerability is done, then obviously they will try to install the tools which is going to be, keep the entire system under control. That is called the C2, which is command and control. So as soon as, we should not come and do any kind of a malfunction right now. If you do so, they will be wake up, the company will wake up, their defending system will be wake up, and they will try to close that. So we cannot do anything. So slowly you will have to do the process. This entire process, kill chain process, is slow process. I mean, very carefully, cautiously they will have to move. Every step we'll have to see it very, very cautious move. And then once it is done, then command and control is with us. What is that action? Perform that action one day, which is either Saturday, Sunday, or Christmas Day. Sorry to use that, because many places in this situation, everyone will be not available because all are busy with their families, with their personal vacation, or they will be gifting others. So that time these guys, obviously these guys are not in a good mindset, right? I mean, they will be in a disgruntled mindset, always negativity thoughts or something like that. I mean, I should not generalize the term, but the point is, many hackers, if you see, they will not be positively approach every scenarios. So they will be okay, we will use this situation and then break that system. So they will break it. So obviously what will happen, the entire company, these are all their livelihood. I mean, they are celebrating their festival. When the job is there, when this money is there, then only they can enjoy there. So obviously everyone will be disturbed. All are asked to come to office in a war room, and they will start using the same process, cyber kill chain process. So where it would have been, from where, what is that? Is there any, there are two concepts, I will come to that, which is IOC, IOA. Okay, IOC, I mean, I'm not going to disclose it right now because you all know, I mean, so from which path, which vector they have taken in, and what is the path they are coming in, why they are coming in, what is the reason, is there, how come such easily they have come into our situation. So all those things they will start from the scratch, from the reconnaissance phase itself. So this is what cyber kill chain framework, which is very detailedly displayed in your book, in any book, because people will love explaining all these subjects, because each and every phases of this cyber kill chain is fun part. Of course, we will learn many things out here, and we will where exactly the vector. So many learnings this will create for us actually. So I think this is what a cyber kill chain framework is all about, and all the hackers, ethical hackers, even defenders, they will use the same processes, and then they will get into any kind of operations like hacking operations, and then they will successfully do this thing. But one biggest challenge with the hackers are they will not be following as it is. They will be jumped from reconnaissance to directly to exploitation because of the situation, because of various other reasons. They won't follow step by step of all these processes. But wherein if the other side, the blue team, they will be following the defender team, they will be very clearly following step by step, what is happening, something like that. And there are some threat intelligence, threat modeling, everything will come into picture by this time. Actually, when the system is hacked, then all those faced people will be invoked, and then they will try to resolve the problem as soon as possible. Okay. And this is what the cyber kill chain framework is all about. And the next thing is CTI, which is, as I just now mentioned, cyber threat intelligence. You know, what is that threat intelligence? Like, there are four types of CTIs, which is strategy, tactical, operational, and of course technical. So all these, every phases, actually every phase does something. And there is some numbers. Actually, I will let you know about it later on. And there is one other video about Open CTI. I have created a cyber threat models using a OSINT tool. I mean, that is also running in. If time permits, just go ahead and have a look at it. I will try to put it in the top of this video as well. And then you do that. So CTI life cycle is first, initially they will plan and what is the direction they need to go and where to collect the data. So in the sense, there are a couple of external scenarios, CVS, CVSS. So those kind of things, we need to have, in order to execute threat intelligence, you need to have a threat intelligence server. If it is not there, obviously it is very difficult for us to understand what is happening on this. Or else you have to engage a third party, or if you have an internal SOC, they should have some kind of a threat intelligence server. Actually, there are some commercial servers are available. I don't want to name it here because that may go as a advertisement for them. So I'm not going to name any of the services. But Open CTI, which is very popular now coming in, and then every company, even if you do not need, do not engage. Everyone will say, like, since you do not have threat intelligence services or server, you are dependent on some third party. If you have server on your own, obviously, why do we need to go to a third party, something like that? Because what will happen, that that vulnerability database, that all those these guys will go and get it, and based on our vulnerabilities, that will go, it will give you that CVE number, and based on that CVE number, we will process that payload, how to defend it back, all those things. That will be clearly visible, clearly explained in the other video as well. But here is where, the CTI life cycle, it does the same thing. So planning and direction and collection of information, what is to be done, and then what processing, where it is the exploitation to be done, and analysis and production and dissemination and integration of things. These are the life cycle of cyber threat intelligence. This intelligence will help us, will create a very nice report, like these are the vulnerabilities and these are the fixes of each and every vulnerabilities. So go ahead, and some of the vulnerabilities we ourselves, we can easily fix it if you have a threat intelligence server. If you do not have it, obviously we'll have to engage a third party, and then they will charge for this particular, because they might be using a commercial cyber threat intelligence server with them, and that will be integrated tightly with their SOC machines, so obviously they will external SOC, which is they will be trying to connect to us, and then from there, once your vulnerabilities are all captured, then obviously they will be their intelligence server will contacting that two services I told those two services, and it will give you the clear number. This is what your threat is all about, something like that. It will clear. So I think cyber threat intelligence, this is more than suffice. Beyond that, I do not have anything. Please do not forget to see that video. I just mentioned the video out here. Okay. And then threat modeling processes. Threat modeling processes is what we are following for every threat modeling. I have four parts of threat modeling processes. I have done it, and we used Microsoft threat modeling tool to generate what exactly is happening on the system. And I have clearly the 4 videos. I have put this video in the top. Just have a look at it. And then so it is used to define the goals of security as well, what exactly we are going to do with this threat modeling. And then second stage is going to be understanding the system architecture and the components. And then it is the overview of all the application, the business application, the crowning gel applications of our organization. And then it will decompose the application into breaking down into pieces, and that will be constituted into processes. And each breaking down concepts or components, will it be secured, is what we are going to do. That is for identify threat, recognizing the potential security on the breaking down the components. Okay, component level we'll have to break down, and then ensure that each and every component is safe and secured. So, and then identify vulnerabilities. So when recognizing the potential security risk, and then from there we are pinpointing the weaknesses of the system. and that will give us a very clear picture. And if you are using Microsoft Threat Modeling tool, it will give you, it uses Stride, or there are 4-5 models, and I will come to you. I don't want to confuse you right now. And there are some threat modeling framework as well. You have Pasta, you have Stride, you have Trick, and you have other threat modeling as well. I will explain to you. I mean, in fact, in my YouTube channel, and you can find all those threat modeling tools as well. I mean, you can go ahead and have a look at it, so that you will understand why, what, how it is needed, something like that, how it is functioning. All those things you will come to know, right? And then incident management processes, actually, as you are aware, like what exactly incident management we need to do. First of all, we prepare and we will detect the vulnerability, and then we analyze it and try to contain it, and then finally erase it. So whatever, how do you respond to a risk or vulnerability? So obviously you must have a incident management processes. Using that, actually you'll have to create some kind of a, based on the vulnerability severity and priority of it, and then you'll have to, those things are all, you are preparing it, establishing an incident response capability. So what is that? If it is high priority, what is your OLA? And if it is a low priority, what is your OLA? So all those things will be clearly prepared, and then we will second process is going to be the detection. So identify the potential security incidents if there is any, something like that, and then third step is going to be analysis, investigating the nature and the scope of the incident, and then fourth thing is try to contain it if you have any vulnerable or if you have any workarounds, and then limiting the impact of the incidents, that is possible or not. If it is not possible, then we have one other option called eradication. Eradication is removing the cause of the incident, which means it may need some tools, it may need some investment to be deployed on the system. So half of the things will be captured by your SOC system. I mean, if it is security, obviously if you have an internal SOC, they will capture it and they will deploy, they will raise a ticket to the right people in the IT systems. There should be some team called a security, and those teams will grab all these tickets and then they will work on it. And some tickets they might need to invest, some ticket they might not be need to invest. They just continue the workaround until the year end, because year end they will allocate a budget for this, and that time they will allocate what is the capacity, what is the licenses required, and then they will allocate that money, and then based on that money we will deploy that. So all these things are all security practices job. Actually, that is one of my day-to-day job as well. So this is what in short about incident management. And then the next thing is going to be the key information security laws and standards. I'm not going to dig deeper about it, because the PCI DSS, which is for a BSFI industry, which is for CORD, whoever using CORD management, and they will have to follow certain regulations and laws. That is what is clearly depicted. There are around 12 plus core principles are there. So we'll have to follow that, and each principle you'll have to decompose it into a further level, and that has to be look into it. That is what PCI DSS, sorry. And then SOX is for controlling the financial fraud in the top level. And then if you see that this certification, they made it mandatory for all the C-suite people. This is subject to correction as well. And many of the companies, they will say that, are you SOX compliant, are you SOX certified? Then only they will accept it to be a CISO or something like that, because based on my current scenarios, I am seeing this. And then FISMA is for federal, all the government agencies, all semi-governments, government related agencies, all they will have to follow this FISMA laws and standards. And then we have a GDPR, as everyone knows that what is GDPR. It is for General Data Protection Regulation for the entire European Union, and they have very strict processes. And if you are, in order to do business in Europe, you got to follow this GDPR processes. And GDPR, three main things they will ask always, everywhere, on all the questions. If there is anything happened, how long, within how many hours you need to report it? 72 hours. So that is very important. So And then two other questions that are very popular in GDPR, and then just have a look at it in your book, just to give it a shot. You will understand about what GDPR concepts I'm talking about. So these are the four further frameworks we need to understand, we need to keep it in mind, and then that's it. And this is the final slide, and we have a conclusion. So we are not going to conclude the theory, we are concluding the theory of module 1, but the practical is still there. So what we are going to do is, actually we are the next not in this video, in the next video I'm going to dive deeper onto how to setting up the lab. I mean, I'm not going to one after other, that is time consuming, but I will use some scripting processes, so that that will limit our time, but still you have around 5-6 servers are important. So in order to make that servers are all up and running within the stipulated or based on our design, that will take a time consuming task as well. So that I will pushing that particular lab for part 2. Okay. And I think beyond this, I do not have any other points to discuss in this video. If you have anything, please feel free to comment, even good or bad or something like that. If you like it, you please like the video, and if you have friends, or if you want to do CH V13, you just share all your friends as well. And if you have any groups, you go ahead and do smash the like button, smash that bell button as well, so that it will tell you whenever if I release any video, you will get to know that, so that immediately you can go ahead and then watch that video, right? So beyond that, I do not have anything. So I will catch you up in the next video. Until next time.